This is exactly how we mark positive and negative angles. Negative angles in the clockwise direction and positive angles in the anti-clockwise direction. Plus 180 degree clockwise, anti-clockwise, anti-clockwise. Minus 110 degree will be clockwise. Here we were supposed to mark 400 degrees. So one complete rotation is of 360 degree plus 40 will make it 400 degrees. So understood the concept of positive and negative angles, right? पहले आप इतना जल्दी से ड्रॉ कर लो. It is this quadrant concept that will help you to learn. I'm not saying just to know, to learn exactly 33 formulae just after this class. अगर आपने इस concept को समझ लिया, this is the fundamental for trigonometry. Without this, nothing can be achieved in trigonometry. Nothing, practically zero, without this quadrant concept. इसका मतलब ये नहीं कि बहुत डिफिकल्ट होगा, बहुत आसान है. मतलब एक चीज होती है आसान, एक चीज होती है लॉजिकली बहुत आसान. तो ये लॉजिकली बहुत आसान वाली कैटेगरी में तो बहुत इजीली समझ आएगा. लोग छोटी छोटी सी चीजें बस हमें समझनी है, याद रखनी है. 0 degree. We know that angles, positive angles, are in the anti-clockwise direction, so angles will increase in this direction. 0, 90, 180, शाबाश, 270 आएगा ना बेटे. अब आएगा 360. 90 90 का गैप है, राइट? ऑब्वियसली 90 90 का ही होना चाहिए. क्लियर दिस मच? 0, 90, 180, 270. अभी जो हम पॉजिटिव नेगेटिव एंगल्स कर रहे थे, जो बड़े बड़े एंगल्स हमने मार्क किए थे 750, 400, उससे एक चीज हमें दैट इज उसको कराने का लॉजिक क्या था? दैट यू नो that whatever be the angle, it will lie in one of these 4 quadrants only. चाहे आप कितने भी राउंड लेकर आओ, आप रहोगे तो इन्हीं चारों में से एक क्वाड्रेंट में. So however small or however bigger the angle may be, मैं करता हूँ. However small or bigger the angle may be, it will lie only in one of these 4 quadrants. Is this point clear? So there are 4 quadrants: first, second, third, fourth. This quadrant concept, the very first step in the quadrant concept is Q. Q stands for identification of the quadrant. For this, 2 simple things we need to understand. That plus will mean the next quadrant and minus will mean the previous quadrant. What next? What previous? Like for example, it is written 90 plus x. Here it is already 90. Angles increase in the anti-clockwise direction. So if it is 90 plus, it will move to the next quadrant. If it is 90 minus, it will move to the previous quadrant. We call these values to be marginal values. What do we call them? Marginal values. Say for example, if it is 180 plus x, where will it go? Third quadrant. 180 minus, जल्दी से rapid fire round करते हैं. 270 plus, 270 minus, 360 minus, 360 minus, fourth, 360 plus, 540 plus, 360 half around 180, 360 plus 180 is 540. 540 plus which quadrant? Third quadrant. देखो 360 plus 180, 540. 540 plus बोला था मैंने. So that will be the third quadrant, right? 720 minus fourth quadrant. Identify करना आ गया, clear हो गया सबको. Then how to identify the quadrant? So we just need to remember, just identify the marginal value and see whether you need to move to the next quadrant or the previous quadrant. If it is plus, move to the next quadrant. If it is minus, move to the previous quadrant. मैंने सही बोला ना? If it is plus, move to the next quadrant. If it is minus, move to the previous quadrant. Clear this? अगर कोई भी डाउट है अभी पूछ लो, अभी क्लियर कर लो उसका. नहीं, 33 फॉर्मूले इस पर डिपेंड करेंगे, एक एक कॉन्सेप्ट पर. और अगर ये क्लियर है मतलब चुटकियों में लर्न हो जाएगा. जस्ट स्नैप. समझ आ गया? उनको मत देखो यार, मत घबराओ. So first step over quadrant. Second is S, which stands for sine. Sine means sine of T ratio. Not all T ratios are positive. There's sine of T ratio. Sine of T ratio, like sine can be negative, tan can be positive, cos can be negative. That is, their values are positive or negative depending upon the quadrant in which the angle is lying. In the first quadrant, all the values are positive. In the second quadrant, sine is positive. In the third quadrant, tan is positive. And in the fourth quadrant, cos is positive. This all sine, tan, cos means that in these quadrants, these respective T ratios will be positive, others will be negative. बहुत simply इसको आप correlate कर सकते हैं. I'll tell you the logic behind this afterwards. But पहले अभी I just want to explain you these results. That इसको logically बहुत easily आप correlate कर सकते हो. That whatever is visible is positive, which is not is negative. So हमारे सामने sine है second quadrant में. So in this quadrant it will be positive and not just sine, reciprocal of sine. क्योंकि जो साइन साइन का होगा वही उसके रेसिप्रोकल का होगा, जो साइन tan का होगा वही उसके रेसिप्रोकल दैट इज cot का होगा. Here cos and sec. Am I clear with it? So all sine, tan, cos. In short, we represent it as ASTC. Add sugar to coffee. After school to college, but not everyone goes to college. So after school to this is what exactly I wanted to derive. So you should go after school to college only. But बाकी एक स्टूडेंट था, उसने बनाया था अपना सपना ट्रैक्टर चलाना. तो आप अपने हिसाब से जो आपको अच्छा लगे, जो आपका सपना हो, आप उस हिसाब से कंप्लीट कर सकते हो. कंप्लीटली अप टू यू. बट याद रखना है all sin, tan, cos. That's the main thing to be remembered. Am I clear with it? Now comes F, which stands for function. Function actually change in function. कॉम्प्लीमेंट्री फंक्शंस याद है आपको? क्लास 9th या 10th में किए थे आपने. sin 90 माइनस थीटा क्या होता था? cos थीटा. फंक्शन चेंज हो जाता है ना. cos 90 माइनस थीटा क्या होता था? sin theta. That is this change in function. So for this function changes in case of vertical axis. Very good, Subhan. In case of vertical axis, that is from 90 degree to 270, it basically changes for all odd multiples of 90 degree. 90, 270, जितने भी odd multiples हैं वो vertical axis पर आएंगे. तो हमने इसको generalize कर लिया. That function changes in case of vertical axis. So this is the concept QSF. Just by the help of these three things, exactly 33 formula you will be able to understand. पहले आपको ये चीज clear हो गई. That is, first we identify the quadrant plus next minus previous. Then we identify the sign. That is, we need to find out that in which quadrant that angle is lying, depending upon that ASTC. Then we see whether that angle is changing at the vertical axis or the horizontal axis. If it is changing, if it is at the vertical axis, it will change. That means sine will change to cos and cos will revert to sine. Tan will change to cot, cot to tan. Sec will change to cosec, cosec will change to sec. Is it clear? Please note it down. फिर मैं इसकी application बताता हूँ. Now look carefully. Yash. Say sine 180 degree minus x. We always follow this QSF. First of all, quadrant 180 minus x. Which quadrant? 180 minus x. 180 minus x. Second quadrant. Then we check the sign of this T ratio, whether it is positive or negative. In the second quadrant, sign is positive, so plus sign. And because it is horizontal axis, the function will not change. Sign will remain to be sign only, so it will become sin x. Is it clear? Let's try this out. Cos 270 minus x. First, identify the quadrant. Which quadrant? Third. Third quadrant, cos will be negative. Change, no change. The cos will be negative. Third quadrant. Because tan is positive. And 270 degree vertical axis. So for that reason, function will change. So function is not changing because it is in the third quadrant. Function is changing because the axis is vertical. So this will be equal to minus sin x. Is it clear? बस ऐसे अप्लाई करने हमें टोटल 33 फॉर्म, जस्ट 33 रिजल्ट्स. ये जो मैंने आपको अभी बताया है ये बहुत सिंपल है. The first set of results in terms of 90. Sin 90 minus x, cos 90 minus x, tan 90 minus x. Sin 90 plus x, cos 90 plus x, tan 90 plus x. First, we identify the quadrant. Now, the rule is that when I say quadrant, you'll directly tell which quadrant it is. When I say sign, you'll say whether it will be positive or negative, right? When I say function, you will say change or no change. Is the rule clear? Quadrant, पहले मैं एक example देता हूँ. Quadrant first, right? Sign positive, sign ये वाला sign नहीं, मतलब इसका sign that will be positive. Function change or no change, 90 degree function will change. So this will become cos x, right? Again, quadrant, sign positive, function change. So sin x. Quadrant first, function positive, sign positive, function change. So this will be equal to quarters. Quadrant second, sign positive, function change. So quadrant second, sign negative, very good, function change. 90 degree है तो function change होगा. Second quadrant में तो cos negative होगा ना, and 90 degree है, so that will be change. So this will be sin x. What about this? Second quadrant, tan will be negative and function will change. Is it clear? जो भी डाउट है अभी क्लियर करो उसको जल्दी से. ऑनलाइन वालों को भी भाई कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं है. हमजा, यश, सब समझ आ रहा है? जल्दी से आप इसको नोट करो. Look for the second concept, that is 180 degree. So 180 minus x. Next would be next will be 180 minus x, tan 180 minus x, sin 180 plus x, cos 180 plus x, tan 180 plus x. Quadrant second. In the second quadrant, sign is positive. What about function? No change. No change. 180 degree horizontal axis. So this will remain to be plus sin x. Again, second quadrant, cos will be negative. Will the function change? No. Minus cos x. Right. This one, second quadrant, tan will be negative. Function will not change. अब आप I think mature हो गए directly. 180 minus x. Second quadrant, sin positive है ना? Sin और cosec positive होंगे. First 180 minus first में क्यों नहीं आएगा? Okay, this is 180 minus, that is just less than 180 degrees. So it will not cross the other boundary. 180 plus x, which ये clear हो गया? Second quadrant, 180 minus, yes, second quadrant. प्रीवियस वाला पॉजिटिव किसके लिए है? साइन के लिए. तो टैन के लिए तो नेगेटिव हुआ, राइट? अच्छा, हाँ, नहीं बिल्कुल सच अगर समझ आए तो क्या नो बोल सकते? ओके, सो 180 प्लस एक्स, व्हिच क्वाड्रेंट? थर्ड क्वाड्रेंट. साइन विल बी नेगेटिव. विल द फंक्शन चेंज? सो माइनस साइन एक्स. क्वाड्रेंट, साइन नेगेटिव. Will the function change? Quadrant, tan, function change? No. So this will be the third में tan positive. Clear now? Clear to all? जल्दी से नोट करिए. Look for this. Sine 270 minus x. 270 minus x, third quadrant, sine will be negative in the third quadrant. Function, what shall I write here now? Minus, very good. This will be plus cot x, very good. This will be minus cos x. This will be plus sin x. 270 plus x, fourth quadrant. Fourth quadrant cos is positive, but function will change. So this will be sin x. Fourth quadrant, tan will be negative, function will change, minus x. Clear now? How many forms recording बची और हमें 50 forms? Look for it. The fourth one, 360. Identify करो 360 minus which quadrant? Fourth. In the fourth quadrant, sign is negative. Will the function change? No. Cos in the fourth quadrant is positive. Will the function change? Tan in the fourth quadrant is negative and function will not change. Which quadrant? First. In the first quadrant, all the values are positive. Will the function change? So it will remain to be sin x, cos x, and tan x. जल्दी करो. 9 results और. Please stop. As we have discussed, that there are only these 4 quadrants. However small or bigger the angle be, it will always end in one of these quadrants, right? So whether you take only one round or you take multiple rounds, the terminating quadrant will remain to be same. But just quadrant में angle terminate हो रहा है, that will remain to be same. So that is why these results, which are in terms of 360 degree, are the same in multiples of 360 degree. N is any integer. Is it clear? जितने भी आप not an integer but rather a natural number. क्योंकि number of rounds ले रहे हो ना, number of rounds will be in natural number. तो जितने भी आप rounds ले रहे हो, that is अगर जो result 360 degree की terms में true है, वही result 720, 1080, that is all multiples of 360 degree, they will be true. Clear this thing? Sure. Now just 3 left. Shall I continue with the remaining 3? मैं ये नोट करने का टाइम दे दूंगा मैं आपको, don't worry. Now the last set is in terms of 0 degree. देखो 0 plus लिखेंगे तो that will not change, that will remain to be same. So that is why it is 0 minus cos 0 minus and tan 0 minus. 0 minus which quadrant? 0 minus which quadrant? Fourth. 0 minus, so that will be fourth quadrant. In the fourth quadrant, sin is negative, cos is positive, tan is negative. So that is why sin minus x is equal to minus sin x. Cos